Sagittarius, what it do? It's your girl T, aka Cleopatra, and you are watching TTV. Yes, I got my little wand here. So, we're currently in Aquarius season. Aquarius rules the 11th house. The 11th house has to deal with innovation, change, rebellion, the collective, anything that's like alien, and the water, like they said, the water bearer and tarot. And the water bearer comes after the tower. The water bearer is the one that restores humanity, which is why Aquarius is known to be the archetype of the humanitarian. And then we have Sagittarius, who rules over the ninth house. The ninth house having to deal with wisdom, the higher mind, foreign lands and foreign languages, and journeys. Oh my goodness. If you can hear my stomach, I do apologize. We're just gonna act like it's not there. Well, we're not gonna act like it's not there because clearly if you can hear, you can hear, but if not, whatever. But I just did have to preface that in the beginning of the video because my stomach wants to make itself known. I also want to note that this is the fourth time I've tried to record this. No, that's not why the cards are out. The cards are out because I wanted to get the energy already out so we can get the reading going. The first time was recording for like 5 minutes, the mic wasn't on. The second time I wasn't recording, but the mic was on. And then I believe that I don't even know. This is the third or fourth time that we're doing this. So we're back, Sagittarius. So we are in the final stretch of Aquarius season. Aquarius rules over, like I said, the 11th house, which is two houses ahead of you, meaning that and whenever a sign is two houses before or after another sign, that means that it creates a sextile. And I know what all the other aspects, I know more about all the other aspects, the trine, square, the opposition, the conjunction, more than I know about the sextile. I just know that a sextile is a 60-degree angle. And being that each sign is 30 degrees, each sign spends about 30 days per sign, which is why we're in the final 10 days, the final stretch, really like the final 8.5 days, because the sun is currently at 21 degrees of Aquarius. And being that there are 30 days per sign, give or take, there are three decans: the first 10 days, the second 10 days, and the third 10 days. So we're in the final 10 days, and we're in the final decan of Aquarius season. And I was pulled to do your energy for Aquarius season, the collective reading for Sagittarius, but I didn't get to it until now, which means that for me, I'm getting the energy that you guys really need this information now more so than you would have benefited from it at the beginning of Aquarius season, because now that the energy of Aquarius has taken place over these last 2 weeks, you can now utilize what you know about it being Aquarius season and what you may gain about Aquarian energy, and take that with you for the next 10 days as we transition into Pisces season. Because now let's get into the cards. When I first pulled your cards, I pulled your planet, which is Jupiter. The ninth house and Sagittarius are ruled by the planet Jupiter. Now, the planet Jupiter is also co-ruled. One of the well, not few planets. For the most part, all the planets are co-ruled. The only luminaries or celestial bodies that are not co-ruled are the moon and the sun. Obviously, they're not planets; they're celestial bodies. But Jupiter is traditionally ruled, well, Jupiter is now ruled by Sagittarius, but it's traditionally in Hellenistic astrology ruled by Pisces. So Jupiter, and mind you, Venus actually just moved into Pisces, but she's gonna be moving out of Pisces in a few days and moving into Aries. Um, Nonetheless, Jupiter is a co-ruled planet, so the daytime, I believe, is it the daytime of Jupiter? Yeah, the daytime of Jupiter is Sagittarius. So the traditional energy that we take, but the Hellenistic, well, it's not really traditional because traditional is Pisces. Sorry to throw you off, but that's all Sagittarian energy is wisdom and learning and knowledge. So, with that being said, Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, is co-ruled by Pisces. Now, the interesting thing also about the other card that I pulled, the number 3, is because although Jupiter rules the ninth house, Jupiter being mutable fire. So Jupiter's a fire sign, but it's mutable. Mutable meaning that it's ever changing, ever evolving. It can be like a chameleon in its type of energy. So when I brought up Aquarius being fixed air, fixed meaning that it's constant, same as the same, it's the constant variable. Now what is okay? So if we were compare the two energies. Okay, if Sagittarius is mutable fire, then what's fixed fire? Leo, your fellow fire sign. But we're not talking about Leo today. We're just trying to give some reference here. So you have Aquarius, which is fixed fire. Which is fixed air. And then you, Segi, you are mutable fire. Now with the number 3, we have mutable air. Mutable air. So the two things that we have in common here, mutable, which you so the term is mutable and fixed, and the last one is actually cardinal, but that's kind of irrelevant here because we're not talking about those energies. But those are known as modalities. I'll also put this in the description box. Modalities. So there's 3 modalities. There's fixed, which is constant. There's cardinal, which is like the initiator, and then you have mutable, which is ever changing. Um, so Jupiter ruling Sagittarius, and Sagittarius being mutable fire. Pulling out the number 3 is interesting because Sagittarius rules the ninth house, which is the higher mind, but the third house is ruled by mutable air, which is Gemini, and Gemini is known for the lower mind. Now, the higher mind is known as wisdom, something like in-depth knowledge, something that may be foreign to you or something that you may be learning more about, whether it's like going to school, going to college, getting your doctorate, getting your PhD, excuse me, getting some type of depth when it comes to learning. Even like, for example, right now, you could be the type of person who knows about astrology, but maybe you didn't know about modalities, or maybe you didn't know about aspects and you just learned it just now. And that is an aspect of Gemini, because we're here on the internet, but in the same time, it's like you are expanding the knowledge that you already have. And so during Aquarius season, you're utilizing your planetary energy, but in a different type of way. So I can see, since air is very, very fast. Now, fire is fast as well. Water and earth are a little bit slower, but fire is fast as well, because fire can engulf, like, if you were to think about Sagittarius as a fire, it would be the forest fire that's engulfing all the trees and that's racing to the finish line. It's like there's no need for a race when it's a fire. Everybody else wants it to stop, but the mutable fire is consuming everything in its path, and it has taken over the land that once was green and beautiful, and now it's barren and burnt. And to the fire, it feels like it's very, very successful because it just overtook this entire forest. But now the people who were reaping the benefits, the animals and the people who are reaping the benefits of the forest, are now deprived. And so now everyone has to figure out what to do with a lack of resources from that forest. Whereas the fire just created a new landscape and started new. That's mutable energy, because it went from one thing to another. The fire went from being the fire that started whatever to this gigantic catastrophe that turned into some burnt to crisp land, whatever. That's a little on a tangent. But the number 3 rules the lower mind, which has to do with quick thinking, making a quick decision. It could be you at a game show talking to Steve Harvey and they ask you a question, you only have 30 seconds to answer, and you have to come up with something off the top of the dome. Whereas Jupiter is you writing this essay, and you get time, you get a topic, you get to proofread, you get feedback and all that. That is Sagittarius. It's the in-depthness of learning. So with 3 and Jupiter being here, if Sagittarius is the higher mind during Aquarius season, Aquarius is very, very, very fast. Although it's fixed, it's fast. So when I think of fixed air or Aquarian energy, I think of lightning, even though lightning is not air, but that lightning is one of the symbols for Aquarian energy because it's fast. You see it 1 minute, you don't. Whereas Sagittarius is here all day. talking to the stranger that they met on the bus, and now you're making plans to go and get drinks at 5, and it's 4:30 and you have to hurry up and go home, but instead you guys decide to just go there together, and now you're best friends, and you're inseparable, and you can never stop talking to each other or thinking about each other. You fall asleep on the phone, you wake up the next day, have plans for coffee in the morning. You guys decide to apply for school. Now you're taking all the same classes. That's Sagittarian energy. Sagittarius wants to hold on. Sagittarius wants to make long lasting connections. Sagittarius wants to make long lasting impressions, even if that means Sagittarius has to be here all day. Whereas Jupiter is like Quicksilver from X-Men. They're there 1 minute and then they're gone, and you didn't even realize that they left. You're still here. Sagittarius is still there having the conversations, talking to themselves, and Jupiter and Gemini have been gone for 10 minutes, and Sagittarius doesn't even know until they realize that people are looking at them because they're talking to themselves. And Sagittarius has no problem standing there talking to themselves. It just was the looks that they got that made them stop. So Jupiter is very hardy. Jupiter is a planet of abundance. Jupiter is a planet of good luck. So I feel like you could have luck in regards to learning about something that you can have a very quick interaction or a quick conversation or a short conversation with someone new, someone in your town, a sibling, someone that's close in age to you, someone that's close to you. It could be someone that's related to you, someone at school. You could talk to someone about school and you could learn something very, very important. I see you in the last 10 days of Aquarius season having a come to Jesus moment, almost having divine revelation, and you can completely change your mind about something. Like I said, Aquarius rules change, but change is different for everybody. Change is different specifically for each sign. So, on the left hand side, well, the way that I wanted to do your reading, Sagittarius, was I wanted to do past, present, and future. Now, before I even did that, I pulled an oracle card for you. I started out with the two energies, and then I went around it. So, left is always masculine, which is thoughts and the external world, the physical, what you see. And then the right side is going to be always feminine, which is the internal world, your emotions and your intuition. But again, we're going to go past, present, and future. So past is unchanging. It's the same. It's very masculine. The present, is in between, and then we got the future, which is intuitive. You can dictate, really determine what your future will be based on what you have already experienced and how you want to how you are the middle energy, how you want to initiate your future based on the experiences that you've already had. So the oracle card that I pulled for you, I'll bring it closer so that you can see. I'm just attached to the vent here. Hold on. There we go. Imhotep, number 17, 1 and 7. There goes that axis again that I talked about in my other videos of Aries and Libra. Aries having to do with the self, Aries being cardinal fire, ruled by Mars, and Libra being cardinal air, because they're opposites. Cardinal air, ruling the seventh house, having to do with justice, karma, relationships, balance. So, when I first pulled your energy over here, oops, sorry, let me put the camera back, get us focused and refocused here. Yes, ma'am. There we go. Yes, sir. And yes, ma'am. And yes, whatever entity or non binary, well, I don't know. I feel like that's a very Sagittarian thing, low key. The whole, I'm not this, I'm not, whatever. So, Imhotep says temple healing. So I feel like for these next 10 days, because this is a next 10-day reading since we only have 10 days left of Aquarius season. Oh, that's what made me talk about Pisces, because we're going into Pisces season after Aquarius season. So like I was saying, each planet, the sun travels 30 days through each sign, give or take. And that's why there's three decans, and now we're in the third decan. And in the description box, I'll write what each decan means, and specifically what each decan means for each sign, in reference to the tarot as well, because I believe that I'm not even going to get to lying to you. I'm just going to write in the description box. So make sure you read the description box so you can get more information on sextile, and also the decans. So, the first thing that I'm getting for you guys is that you have come to some type of, you have found some type of information. You have come into some type of information, and this was the information that you have been, your soul has been yearning for. You were not necessarily looking for it, but you were inadvertently manifesting it because of what you were trying to align yourself with. And now you're starting to realize that you have to make an entire change in your life in some way, shape, or form, whether it's an emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual change in order to reinvent yourself almost. You're almost reshaping your mind to manifest. It's kind of like I see now for most of my Sagittarius, you guys are already the person that you want to be, but that doesn't mean that you don't necessarily like who you are now, but you do want to be a more, you want to be a different version of yourself. You want to be a better version of yourself. You might just want to be a different version of yourself. Not to say that if there's a better version, there's a lesser version, because you may not feel like there's a lesser version of you. You may just want to be a um reinvented version of the who you are now, because I get that Sagittarius, you guys really do like yourselves for the most part, and you don't feel like, you guys don't really be feeling like you need to change. You do like your routines and how you do things, but I feel like there's some type of information that you've just been introduced to, that because you've been introduced to this information, it's almost like you feel like you hit a pot of gold, and now you're going to be taking this information, as we're in the energy of Aquarius season, which Aquarius is about reinventing. And as we're in the energy of Aquarius season, you will be taking this and reinventing yourself in some way, shape, or form. And I get that it specifically may have to deal with, if it doesn't have to deal, well, okay, there's something. Hold on, what's this number on this card? Let me see. 40. It's a matter of either how you feel about yourself, matters of the heart, or how you want to feel. You feel, I feel like the way that you're living, the way that you are is not in alignment with how you feel or how you feel about yourself. Or maybe you don't feel like you're expressing yourself correctly, or maybe you don't feel like you're showing up in the world that you like, how you want to be. Like, I feel like you see all the great things about yourself, but maybe necessarily everyone else doesn't necessarily see them, but it's because of how you're portraying yourself. So the good thing about that, Sagittarius, is that you're very much in control of everything. You're in control of your reality. You're in control of who you are. You're in control of who you can be. You're in control of who you will be. That's the good thing about being a Sagittarius. Most people probably don't understand that, but you do. But now that you have almost matured in your thinking, you are going to be reinventing yourself, and that's going to be causing you to go in almost of hibernation, but it's an internal hibernation. The way you're going to be perceiving, the way you're going to be acting to the outside world is not going to change. No one's even going to realize that you've gone through this change until um until later on, which is a good thing. But it's because it's kind of like you don't want anybody like prying onto your journey as you go through healing, or as you go through a transformation or a shedding or a detox of who you once were. I see you taking all of the knowledge and the wisdom and experiences that you've had up until now, and taking them and now shaping yourself and molding yourself. It's like taking Play-Doh, and now you're like, okay, I didn't have Play-Doh before when I was a kid, and I just used to make all these balls, and I used to throw them around the room. I might have licked them and stuck them to the wall. I might have stuck them together and made a little happy face. But now you're creating art. You're like, now, and it doesn't even, art is subjective. It doesn't even have to be like, oh, I made this little sculpture of like those little, I don't even know what those sculptures are called that people be having in their house, of those like mice. It reminds me of Dead Mouse 5, whatever it's, Dead Mouse, excuse me. I don't know what they're called. I'll put that in the description box too. But I don't know what they call. I just know that it's not going to be something that it could be some type of art form. The thing about art is that art, just like Sagittarius, just like you, Seji, is deep. It's depth. Like, in order to be able to appreciate art, you have to be able to open your mind up to what it is or what it could be, because it's up to interpretation. Now, even though it could be, you know, whatever the artist may say it is, everybody can perceive this art in different ways. So I may look at a painting and it may fill my heart up with joy and it might motivate me, inspire me, and just give me this boost of energy where someone else might see it and they start crying, and next thing you know, they're shedding and they're releasing all of this pent up energy they didn't even know they had, and now they feel a release because they saw this beautiful painting that just had them tap into this part of themselves that they didn't even know was there. And that's what I see you doing, Sagittarius. I see you tapping into a different part of yourself that you didn't even know was possible. Like, you already feel like the shit. You already feel like you're it. You already feel like you're that girl. You already feel like you're him. But now you are maturing, and you're maturing emotionally, you're maturing mentally, you're maturing spiritually, and you're maturing um physically. But at the same time, it also is kind of like you're biting your tongue a little, not biting your tongue, but it's like, you know, that feeling when you bite your tongue, it's just like, oh, it hurts, because now you're having to come to the realization that there are parts of you that do need change, which is not always a bad thing. But if you were able to see the beauty in it, and that takes a mature mind, that takes an accountable mind, that takes a mind of wisdom, a mind of God, a mind that wants to be able to connect to the highest form of ourself, not the lowest form. And Sagittarius, you rule the highest form. You are a sign that is supposed to be directly linked to God energy and the divine. But Sagittarius, you can be very stubborn at times, especially when you're stuck in your ways, because even though Sagittarius, being a mutable sign, is ever changing, you could be ever changing towards nothing, basically. But you want to be changing towards the right direction. You don't want to be trying to roll uphill. You want to be going at a constant speed in the right direction. So, with the number three, I see that you're going to be having a lot of conversations. You might want to have different types of conversations. You might want to have hard conversations. You might want to have deep conversations. Maybe the conversations you have could be very therapeutical for you, in the sense that you didn't know you need them. You didn't know that you need to have them. Like, even listening to this reading, this could be just what you, oh my God, my stomach is just like interrupting. How rude. Ugh, anyway, you could be having conversations that you didn't even know that you needed to have, because you've been in such a constant for the last, I'm hearing, for the last maybe 3 years. You could have moved, or you could have changed. Something could have happened to you within the last 3 years. As for everybody post pandemic, like, even with the pandemic, like, maybe you got really, really complacent, or you got unmotivated, or you were trying to get some type of project off the ground. You were trying to make some type of change in your life, but it just wasn't sticking. It just wasn't hitting for what it was supposed to be hitting for. You know what I'm saying? So now that these 3 years have passed, you have gathered all of this knowledge and wisdom. And I feel like you are tired of being sick and tired. And now you're about to make some change, and you're about to transform into a different part of yourself. So with temple healing, I feel like there's going to be a few things within these next 10 days that you're going to do. You're going to decide to make a choice. You're going to make a choice towards your future, but it's going to take, like, I feel like maybe you might be coming into spirituality. You may not necessarily have considered yourself a spiritual person. You may have been more of a religious person, where, you know, just trying to be a child of God, trying to do right, trying to be good. You go on Sundays to repent for your sins and ask God for forgiveness, and that's that. But now I see you starting to take spirituality to a whole another level. I'm about to say a whole nother level. You what? It was like I was trying to make a mixture between a New York accent and a English accent. So I don't know. Maybe about to be start. Maybe I could just see you on Clubhouse. Maybe listening to someone who has an accent, like, you just tapping into these, and that's like Geminian energy. What is wrong? What is going on? Like, our minds are all over the place. But see, that's Geminian energy, like being here and there and everywhere and da 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 da. You know, like, air sign is very quick, fast, ready to go. Whereas fire is just like, we're here for the moment. But at the same time, Sagittarius is here for a good time, not a long time. Actually, that's not true. Sagittarius is here all day. Sagittarius has all day. Um, don't get Sagittarius started, because you get Sagittarius started, Sagittarius ain't gonna end until Sagittarius want it to end. Sagittarius, it ain't over until Sagittarius say it's over. You hear me? So with that saying, I just feel like you guys are barreling, speedwaying through your evolution, and you are determined to make this. It's not even that you're determined to make a change, but you're determined to be the best version of you. And being the best version of you means literally, I see you like in overindulging. Like Jupiter and Sagittarius are the sign of over. Jupiter specifically is a planet of overindulgence. So in Jupiter's shadow aspect and its light attribute, it's indulging healthily, but in its shadow attribute, it can be overindulging. But I see you overindulging in a good way. Overindulging, it's like you're investing it's like you're investing solely into you. You are making manifest all of the things that you want to make yourself the happiest you can be, the healthiest you can be, the funniest you can be, the most likable you can be. And it's not even to say that you're trying to be liked, but when you love yourself, when you like yourself, Sagittarius, you make yourself to be more likable. Whereas like Aquarius, sometimes Aquarius just don't really even care. But like Sagittarius, I see you really putting your all into being the best version of you. You're addressing the parts of you, and basically you're doing shadow work. I see you doing shadow work, and you're probably some of you. I hear some of you being like, "What's shadow work?" Well, shadow work is when you address parts of yourself. For example, if you well, okay, let me not get too ahead of myself. You can address parts of yourself where it's like at the end of the day, within human nature, what no matter how old you are, no matter what language you speak, no matter what you identify as, we all know right from wrong. That is divine law. That's divine justice. It is my art. So we all know right from wrong, but there are times where we may excuse the things that are wrong because it's a part of our addictions or it's a part of our routine or it's our comfort zone. And at the end of the day, it's not really reflective of who we it is reflective of who we are because we all have our light attributes and our shadow attributes, but it's not reflective of our highest self, our godly self. And I see you really trying to make balance between just being completely in your shadow attributes or being like a completely because one of the shadow attributes of of Sagittarius is being self-righteous. Let me say that again, excuse me. A lot of times, Sagittarius, you guys can do things and you make so many excuses for why it's okay, knowing good and well that shit ain't right, and knowing good and well that you just sound like you're making excuses, and everybody's just gonna sit there and be like, okay, because no one has time to argue with you. Once you get to arguing, it's just like personal attacks have been made. It's personal. It's screaming. It's arguing. Dishes is broken. So it's just unnecessary. Like Sagittarius, no one wants to argue with you out of fear. No one wants to argue with you because it takes too much time and energy. And because you're just simply not listening. You don't care about what the other person has to say anyway. You are going to get your point across and you don't care if it's right, wrong, or if you're right or wrong. What you're saying is right at the end of the day. And the other person is wrong. And so, Sagittarius, no one's going to get into argue with you because you are just saying whatever you just to hear yourself talk. No offense. But Sagittarius, I see you addressing the parts of yourself, even if you've already been doing shadow work, even if you're already healed, you could be healed. Or you could be addressing the fact that, damn, this reading just made me realize that I need some healing to do. And actually, let's get into the reading. So, not to necessarily say, well, actually, yes. So, the first card that I pulled out, this this Jack of Hearts, which is, oh, calm down. Get back over there. Oh, so you just flying all over the place, huh? We're not doing that. Get over there. Who do you think you are? So this right here is your past energy, flying all over the place, flipping and flying. Just, I feel like, because you are ruled by an abundant planet, you had a lot of opportunities that you missed out on because of how you felt about something. You were too busy running your mouth about how you felt about something. You didn't know how to be quiet. And what is that saying? It's like you basically talked yourself out of abundance. Now, that's not the thing about this is when you come into wisdom of things, you realize that there's a ebb and flow to everything. As above, so below, give and take, in and out, left, right, up, down, whatever. So your feelings, your feelings were clouding your judgment. They did. In the past, your feelings clouded your judgment and it caused you to be in your toxic feminine energy. You don't have to be a masculine, you don't have to be a feminine specifically because every feminine has masculine and feminine energy and every masculine has feminine and masculine energy. It's the left and right. It's the yin and the yang, the yin, the yang, whatever. It's the in and the out, the conscious, the subconscious. The um internal and the external. So here on your left side, because you were too dominant in how you felt about things, and it caused you to be able to miss out on opportunities, or you got too ahead of yourself, or you were too accepting of things because you didn't want to be perceived a certain way, because you were seeing the world through rose colored glasses. You had a false misconception of how things should be. Maybe that could have been religion, like I was saying before, or spirituality. You were going by someone else's way of life just to make someone happy because you thought that was right, or this is what you thought that you should do. You were really, really dead set on what you felt like you should do or what you felt like was right. But that's what comes with maturity, and evolution and learning and experiencing. And you could come into divine revelation at the age of 55. You could be turning 55 this year and be like, damn, that doesn't mean that you wasted your life. Now, in a sense, depending on the type of person you are, it could very, very much be. But we all come into understanding at different stages in our lives. So, or you could be 18 and be like, wow. Because, I mean, I'm sorry, but from the ages of 12 or 18, you could have been a total suck ass kid, and everyone could have hated you. And you knew that, but you probably didn't care because you're a Sagittarius and you don't really even give a fuck about people's opinions. But it wasn't about that. It was just the simple fact that you started to realize, wow, like I was really crappy, and I don't want to I don't want people to think that about me. And now you are forgiving yourself for the decisions that you have made in the past, because we're all at the end of the day freaking human, and we're going to make mistakes until we decide that we want to be tired of being sick of tired, and or not. But I don't see that for you, at least not the people that listen to my channel. Because if you listen to Queen Cleopatra, you were destined on the right path, and you were destined on the right path of your healing journey. And I am here to help you. I ain't gonna say, well, listen, I ain't here to hold your hand, but I'm here to show you where I can lead you to the well of prosperity. I'm not going to show you what to do with it. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you the map, and then you do with it what you choose. You could decide you want to fly there. You might want to walk there. You might want to teleport there. It's all in how you decide to do it. Or you may ask me on a date there, and we might meet there in 5 days. But I done already been there. I go there all the time. I'm here. This is the well of prosperity. This is the God's divine well of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, truth, and a conduit of energy to Him. So you see how there's this there's this light. It's like divine source energy is now coming down onto you. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, he has a scroll. He's here taking notes. Like, you are studying the way that people interact with you. That's the number 3, because 3 has to do with communication. Gemini, third house, communication, um ideas, thoughts, siblings, neighborhoods, fast, whatever. You are taking the higher mind and the lower mind. You're taking quick communication and in-depth thoughts, and you're really internalizing them. And now this is going to cause you to be able to manifest. You're starting to realize what it means to manifest. You're starting to realize what it means to manifest for you. You're starting to understand how to do that. Because before, maybe you were like, oh yeah, I manifest this because I wrote down some shit. I wrote down some good shit on a piece of paper that I never fucking looked at again for 3 years. I wrote this shit down at the beginning of the pandemic, and now 3 years later, here I am trying to manifest the same shit. Which, I mean, it happens. We all do it. But you could be here like, okay, let me turn this into gold. Instead of just taking some random words with some random pen on some random piece of paper, I'm putting intention into it. And now I'm writing codes to be able to speak to my future self. I'm writing codes to be able to have the divine connect with me. I'm writing codes so that my ancestors and my spirit guides can be able to connect with my highest self, my future self, and we are meeting in the middle. You are now a conduit. You're not a dim light. You're not a um You're not a easy target. You're not just here for the vibes. You are the fucking vibe. You're gonna make yourself into the vibe because you are the vibe. Sagittarius, deep down, you already know you're the vibe, but you're not really putting in the effort to be that. You're just in a lazy energy. Like another shadow aspect of well, pretty much all fire signs, but Jupiter is laziness, getting real complacent, and we don't want that because we're mutable. You have the power not only to manifest, but you have the power to reshape and form yourself. I know that you can see yourself being a completely different person than what you are looking into the mirror right now. It's like you're shape shifting almost. You're a shapeshifter. I see you in these next 10 days, like really getting sufficient rest and healing and looking at yourself a lot differently, being like I see you not just looking in the mirror at yourself and seeing your own reflection. I see you really looking into your own soul and digging into your soul, digging into that reflection. And the reflection that you see on the other side of the mirror is looking at you and reaching through the mirror and is like, wake up. It's like snapping you out of this trance spell that you've been in since the pandemic or before then, whatever was on your mind that you've been manifesting inadvertently, thinking like, oh, if I write something down on a piece of paper, I'm going to manifest it. When in reality, your reality is what you've been manifesting this whole time. But whether or not you like your current reality, you have come into alignment now of this wisdom to know, dang, deep down, this is what my soul is yearning or was yearning for. So you now know that in the past, you allowed how other people felt about you to define you. You were overgiving. You just let anybody do anything to you. You probably just believed anything. And now I see you taking your power back by fighting that part of yourself that was too accepting, too giving. You are fighting against the things, the entities that were attached to you. You're now fighting back, getting your power back. And people aren't going to like that when they see you starting to change. You're going to start hearing people saying, you're going to start hearing people say, oh, you acting different. Or why you be acting like that? You acting funny. Or what's wrong with you? And those will be confirmations to let you know that you're on the right path because people will start being weird. They'll be like, what's wrong with you? People may even try to fight you, start arguments with you, and the same person that maybe you in the before you might have been quick to try to reply back, and but now you're sitting back and you're thinking before you react because you know that there's power in your energy, and that people do want a reaction from you, and that there's more power in you thinking about how you respond first than just being compulsive in responding, or there's more power in not even responding at all. And now there has to be a balance between you knowing when to respond and how to respond and knowing when not to respond, and meeting it in the middle. Your responses to life, to the things around you, are going to dictate your future for the most part. Now you're in a stage of healing right now. You're letting this card right here, so back, it says resting and endings. I see you in these next 10 days forgiving yourself, working on forgiveness, learning how to forgive your past self, learning how to heal your inner child and forgiving your inner child, learning how to forgive yourself for the what you feel like may be mistakes, for the things that you have done in your younger years that are now affecting you. Maybe you had kids early on and you had to spend your whole life feeling like you had to be a parent, but you lost yourself in being a parent and forgot that even though you're a parent, you're still a person, you're still a human. You know, you forgot how to be a human, you forgot how to be real, and you became a robot so instantly and let yourself just maintain that facade when you know that's not you. That's why I say you're going to be looking in the mirror and coming into a revelation, because you're going to look at yourself and realize that the person you see in the mirror is waking you up to realize that you're not being you. You're not being true to yourself. True to self again. True to self. It keeps reminding, like, if you like music, which I know Sagittarius love music, I just keep thinking of Bryson Tiller's True to Self, which makes me think about the fact that Bryson, he, every song, not every song, but like for that first album, when he had Don't Exchange, like when he made music, people loved it. And then he disappeared for a long time and he wasn't making music. But somebody like me, like I love Bryson Tiller's music. I still listen to that. That's the crazy part is I don't even know what the name of that album is. It's Exchange. It's the first one he came out with. I still listen to that to this day. But then he came out with his Self Righteous album. You're running me dry. Oh yeah, you're running me dry. Maybe you need to listen to that album. That's a really, really good album. I love Bryson Tiller, but it just makes me think about how Bryson, he is legendary, but he went rogue. Like he disappeared off the face of the earth. Like who is he? Does he exist? Did he die? Like no, he's been there the whole time. But what has he been doing? He's been a robot, a dummy for reality. Like not him. You Sagittarius. Sorry, not to Bryson. No shade to Bryson, because and no shade to you Sagittarius. But this is a reflective reading right here. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're being honest. You know what I'm saying? So in order for you to reach this, sorry about the noise, in order for you to come here, temple healing, you are your temple. Your body is your temple. I know you've heard that saying before. How do you heal your temple? You look at your chakras, look at a chakra chart, and realize what energy may you be deficient in. It might be your third eye. Maybe you're not trusting your gut, your intuition enough. Maybe it could be your throat chakra. Maybe you're not speaking up enough. Maybe you could be a singer, or you could be someone who's good at communicating, or a teacher of some sort, and you're not using your voice in the right way. Instead, you're using low vibrational words, or you're speaking in low vibrational conversation by gossiping or talking about people or talking about bullshit and stupid shit that doesn't matter. You're spending all your waking days talking about dumb shit, when instead it's like you could really be making like some movements, having the people listen to you like you're Jesus on the block, like having people really listen to the words that this guidance and this knowledge that you got spitting this knowledge, but instead you just spinning that bullshit. Nobody wants to hear that except for them low vibrational people that you keep surrounding yourself with, and you are just as low vibrational as them, but you won't ever realize that as long as you keep associating with them. Anyway, so you're transitioning from here now. You also could be here, which actually you are here. It's like you're here and here. You are fighting back the emotions. Like you are starting to love yourself all over again. You're loving the new version of you. You're loving new parts of yourself. But on the shadow aspect is people are going to try you, but you will start to find power in being able to be uniquely you, and to not just go with the flow and go with the okie doke and go with the herd pack. No, you're using your higher mind. You're using your divine wisdom. You're opening yourself up to high channels, and you're cutting off low channels that are just leeching onto you. That's probably like if you feel drained a lot, that's why. Because there's so many energies around you that want a piece of you because you're being codependent. And now, right now, I see you wanting to draw back. I see you wanting time to yourself. I see you wanting to just being able to have time to reflect. Now, that could necessarily be writing. Maybe you need to write out, write to yourself, write to your past self, write to your future self, write. Think about the things. And whenever you'll look back and you'll look at the journal and be like, dang, this is how I felt. Golly, I needed some help. I needed some healing. Or you can look back and be like, dang, I used to write about that, and now it's my reality. Like I used to write about one in that business, and I used to write about one in that man, that family, that woman, that house, living in this place with this car, and now I have it. Like this is my reality. I really wrote about this one day, and yes, that's manifesting, but you have to do work in between in order to really transcend that reality that you're looking to have. Now, as we are ending these last few days of Aquarius season, I see you healing your feminine energy by being open to receiving. I see you maybe listening more, and now you learning through listening. You're doing less talking. You talked too much before, and now you're listening more. And as we go into Pisces season, you will feel empowered because you're going to be healing your feminine energy, and then you will see what positive masculinity looks like. Because before you were in negative feminine energy, meaning that you were down for anything. But now, since you were taking control of your life in the positive ways, making positive movements for yourself, you have now moved into positive masculinity. And with that being said, Now your energies are balanced. Let me see here. Now, as you make these changes in your life, the people around you that you believed yourself to be close to, you're going to start to no longer resonate with those ideas, those people, and those places. And it's going to hurt you low key because you're going to start to feel what means to be a butterfly busting out of the cocoon or a snake shedding its skin, whatever. Because you'll realize that you no longer relate to this old version of yourself, and that's okay. It happens. That's a part of the human experience, is being able to transcend your ways into shift into the divine person that you're supposed to be, because you can easily live in your shadow your entire life, and then what's going to happen? Most likely you'll reincarnate into some bullshit again, or your lineage will keep reincarnating. Your whole bloodline will keep reincarnating into bullshit. I said bullshit. God damn. Oh God, we don't want that. But that could very well be the case if you don't decide. You came here for a reason. Everybody came here for a reason. But you specifically, you reincarnated and you chose to be a Sagittarius, which means that as a Sagittarius, the sun, your Sagittarius sun, most likely. Now, this can be for Sagittarius, some moon or rising, but I'll get into each one of those. For a Sagittarius sun, that means the sun rules your ego. So you decided to come here to learn something divine, something that was of God. Excuse me. You came here to learn something that is of God. Excuse me. Oh gosh. Now, if your sun is in the ninth house, or if you're a Sagittarius sun. Now, if you're a Sagittarius moon, you feel deeply. You have feelings that are very divine and wise. You may be a person that you don't really believe in, like, people being, like, you don't really believe in depriving certain people of information. You felt like you probably feel literally like the world will go round better if everyone was on the same page. If certain people weren't ignorant about certain things, like, for example, if certain, like how some certain countries have free healthcare, but then America doesn't, like, you don't like that kind of stuff. So your mission here was to use your intuition to try to bring balance to those type of things, to bring light and wisdom, to tell people that there are other ways of doing things instead of this one way. You don't have to just be accepting that. Or if you're a Sagittarius rising, you see the world from a an in-depth point of view. People see you as a deep person. Like, people probably look to you for answers, or you're always out seeking answers. You always find yourself trying to learn more, study. You may not do it when you're around people. You may not, this could be something that you might find yourself doing in your free time, just always learning. You could watch a lot of documentaries. You might watch, movie type of history movies, whatever. Just you find yourself learning. So you chose to come onto this earth to learn divine wisdom, to spread divine wisdom. And your feelings are going to start to change, because you realize that you have a gift that you necessarily didn't tap into before. And now your gift will become your passion, your life's passion, because you have finally found yourself. You finally discovered what you're here for. You finally discovered what you're meant to do. But in order for you to get here, you have to do some healing around the heart chakra, around the solar plexus. And you need to look at your solar plex. You need to look at the chakras and figure out where your healing needs to be done. Maybe it's the sacral. Maybe if you're a woman, it's around the womb. If you're a man, it could be around the reproductive organs. Maybe you have trauma when it comes to, sex or intimacy, connecting, or maybe you have trauma around the heart chakra, because you could have mommy issues or daddy issues, or You may not know how to love properly, or you could be a loving person, but it may not come off that way. You could come off very cold, which means you need to heal your heart chakra. So I see you also could be avoiding this healing. You could be, you maybe you don't necessarily want to be alone. You don't have to be alone. But I see that just taking a little bit of time to yourself, maybe these next 10 days, and just reflecting and being honest with yourself and saying, I do want to like learn how to be your own best friend. Tap into yourself and don't just indulge by binge watching shows or just escaping by listening to music. No, like really come down to reality. Get a grip on reality. Do some mirror work. Look in your mirror. Say affirmations. Talk to yourself. Love on yourself. Feel your body. Take a healing bath. Take a healing shower. Get near water. Baptize yourself. Heal yourself with water. Get some crystals, maybe if you don't have any already. Figure out, and don't just get some crystals. Figure out what crystals are good for Sagittarius. What crystals are good for um the heart chakra. What crystals are good for the solar plexus chakra. What crystals are good for people who work in retail or who work in customer service. What crystals are good for people who live in a city. What crystals are good for um people who have issues with infertility or creativity. Like, don't just be like, oh, I just bought some crystals. No, like really be aware of the things that you're doing. Be intentional. Learn how to be more intentional with yourself and how to connect more with your outside world than to just be there, to just, be a blob of a human. No, be intentional in this world and you will see your manifestations not just be on paper and not just be bullshit ass manifestations like I want a new fucking car. Like you can actually start making something of yourself and then you'll feel fulfilled, or else you're going to die and you're going to be unfulfilled, and then your whole bloodline is going to continue to reap this negative trauma because you did not decide to take control of your life. And I know you have the power to do that, Seji. So just do it, baby. Make it do what it do, because it's you. It's true. Give your girl a thumbs up if you like this video. Let me know what you thought down below. And I really enjoyed tapping into your energy, Sagittarius. Thank you for allowing me to tap into your energy and get this knowledge for myself as well. And until next time, I'll be here for you in the beginning of Pisces season. I promise you I'll be on time for you guys, Sagittarius, because I actually did want to tap into your energy and I was a little late for you, babes. But we here, and I'll make sure I get that stuff down for you in the description box. Talk to you later. Bye.